Just this morning, we were reminded again of why we need a new and more rigorous approach to address this threat. North Korea broke the rules once again by testing a rocket that could be used for long-range missiles. This provocation underscores the need for action not just this afternoon at the UN Security Council. But in our determination to prevent the spread of these weapons. Rules must be binding. Violations must be punished. Words must mean something. The world must stand together to prevent the spread of these weapons. Now is the time for a strong international response. Now is the time for a strong international response. And North Korea must know that the path to security and respect will never come through threats and illegal weapons. All nations must come together to build a stronger, global regime. And that's why we must stand shoulder to shoulder to pressure the North Koreans to change course. Iran has yet to build a nuclear weapon. My administration will seek engagement with Iran based on mutual interests and mutual respect. We believe in dialogue. But in that dialogue we will present a clear choice. We want Iran to take its rightful place in the community of nations, politically and economically. We will support Iran's right to peaceful nuclear energy with rigorous inspections. That's a path that the Islamic Republic can take. Or the government can choose increased isolation, international pressure. And a potential nuclear arms race in the region that will increase insecurity for all. So let me be clear, Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile activity poses a real threat. Not just to the United States, but to Iran's neighbors and our allies. The Czech Republic and Poland have been courageous in agreeing to host a defense against these missiles. As long as the threat from Iran persists, we will go forward with a missile defense system that is cost-effective and proven. If the Iranian threat is eliminated, we will have a stronger basis for security. And the driving force for missile defense construction in Europe will be removed. So, finally, we must ensure that terrorists never acquire a nuclear weapon. This is the most immediate and extreme threat to global security. One terrorist with one nuclear weapon could unleash massive destruction. Al-Qaeda has said it seeks a bomb and that it would have no problem with using it. And we know that there is unsecured nuclear material across the globe. To protect our people, we must act with a sense of purpose without delay. So today I am announcing a new international effort to secure all. Vulnerable nuclear material around the world within 4 years. We will set new standards, expand our cooperation with Russia. Pursue new partnerships to lock down these sensitive materials. We must also build on our efforts to break up black markets, detect and intercept materials in transit. And use financial tools to disrupt this dangerous trade. Because this threat will be lasting, we should come together to turn efforts such as the proliferation security. Initiative and the global initiative to combat nuclear terrorism into durable international institutions. And we should start by having a global summit on nuclear. Security that the United States will host within the next year. Now, I know that there are some who will question whether we can act on such a broad agenda. There are those who doubt whether true international cooperation is possible. Given inevitable differences among nations. And there are those who hear talk of a world without nuclear weapons and doubt whether it's worth setting a goal that seems impossible to achieve. But make no mistake, we know where that road leads. When nations and peoples allow themselves to be defined by their differences, the gulf between them widens. When we fail to pursue peace, then it stays forever beyond our grasp. We know the path when we choose fear over hope. To denounce or shrug off a call for cooperation is an easy but also a cowardly thing to do. That's how wars begin. That's where human progress ends. There is violence and injustice in our world that must be confronted. We must confront it not by splitting apart but by standing together as free nations, as free people. I know that a call to arms can stir the souls of men and women more than a call to lay them down. But that is why the voices for peace and progress must be raised together. Those are the voices that still echo through the streets of Prague. Those are the ghosts of 1968. Those were the joyful sounds of the Velvet Revolution. Those were the Czechs who helped bring down a nuclear-armed empire without firing a shot. Human destiny will be what we make of it. And here in Prague, let us honor our past by reaching for a better future. Let us bridge our divisions, build upon our hopes. Accept our responsibility to leave this world more prosperous and more peaceful than we found it. Together we can do it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prague. One reference to President John F. Kennedy's remark upon observing the overwhelmingly positive reception given his wife. Upon their first visit to France as the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris. Barack Obama. Address on Hurricane Sandy after ERT briefings. Delivered October 29, 2012, James S. Brady Press Briefing Room. Hello, everybody. I just received a full briefing from our emergency response teams, including FEMA. And agencies that are going to be helpful in the response and recovery efforts. The Department of Energy, the Department of Transportation. The Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Health and Human Services. Obviously, everybody is aware at this point that this is going to be a big and powerful storm. And all across the eastern seaboard, I think everybody is taking the appropriate preparations. I've spoken to all the governors in all these states. They have issues emergency declarations. Those have been turned around quickly here in the White House. We have prepositioned assets so that FEMA personnel are working closely with state and local governments. We're making sure that food and water and emergency generation is available for those communities that are going to be hardest hit. We anticipate that the center of the storm is going to landfall sometime this evening. But because of the nature of this storm, we are certain that this is going to be a slow-moving. Process through a wide swath of the country, and millions of people are going to be affected. So the most important message that I have for the public right now is: please listen to what your state and local officials are saying. When they tell you to evacuate, you need to evacuate. Do not delay. Don't pause. Don't question the instructions that are being given. Because this is a serious storm and it could potentially have fatal consequence if people haven't acted quickly. The good news is that the governors and local officials, I think, have had a few days of preparation. There's been extraordinarily close coordination between state, federal, and local governments. And so we're confident that the assets are prepositioned for an effective response in the aftermath of the storm. But keep in mind that for folks who are not following instructions, if you are not evacuating when you've been asked to evacuate, you're putting first responders at danger. We're going to have search and rescue teams in and around multiple states all at the same time. and although we've got Coast Guard and the Department of Defense all positioned, if the public is not following instructions, that makes it more dangerous for people, and it means that we could have fatalities that could have been avoided. Transportation is going to be tied up for a long time. And probably the most significant impact for a lot of people. In addition to flooding, is going to be getting power back on. We anticipate that there are going to be a lot of trees down, a lot of water. And despite the fact that the power companies are working very closely with their various state officials and local officials to make sure that they are bringing in as many assets as possible and getting those ready in preparation for the storm. The fact is that a lot of these emergency crews are not. Going to be able to get into position to start restoring power until some of these winds have died down. And because of the nature of this storm, that may take several days. So the public should anticipate that there's going to be a lot of power outages. And it may take time for that power to get back on. The same is true with transportation. There are going to be a lot of backlogs, and even after the storm has cleared. It's going to take a considerable amount of time for airlines, subways, trains, and so forth, potentially to get back on schedule, depending on the amount of damage that has occurred. Let me summarize just by saying that I'm extraordinarily grateful for the cooperation of our state and local officials. The conversations that I've had with all the governors indicate that at this point there are no unmet needs. I think everybody is taking this very seriously. We've gotten prepositioned all the resources that we need.